The Army Field Band is live right now.
I think we are, but it's still not
So I think
crystal
yeah, it
clear to
looks
me.
like we are.
There you
It's
go.
showing up. I'm on the book face and it says we are.
There you have it. It's not showing me that, but I believe you. Welcome to this
Watch
week's.
live video.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. I actually got it on time this week, which is a different interface than last week, by the way. So just if you're keeping
Interface.
score at home. So how are you, Lance?
I'm good. I was wondering what is the score? I lost track of the score at home.
The score of what?
You said that if you were keeping score at home.
Oh,
So what's the score? Is it tied?
I
Is it
possibly.
blowout?
I see. Yes. The yeah, I did not. I've not watched any football this weekend, but I do know that the Chiefs lost the best quarterback in football in the second half, and the Browns could still not beat them. So, um, which is not ideal. If you are rooting for the Browns, you were gift wrapped a potential trip to the AFC Championship game, but that's not happening.
So what happened to Mr. Mahomes?
I saw he was in the concussion protocol.
Mm,
So, yeah, I think he got hit hard. So
mm, there you go.
he runs a lot. It's not surprising. Although he's very fast and very agile, so he doesn't get hit hard very often because he's very good at his job.
Yeah.
But there's kind of crazy people who run at him, and their whole job is to hit him as hard as they can. It's very cruel, very cruel. So how have you been? I haven't talked to you in like
It's
3 hours.
gosh, how long was it? Yeah, it's been quite a spell.
We recorded
So
not one but two interviews today. How about that? I think
with
we'll.
two bonus episodes and one intro.
Yep, yep, yeah. We've we've had some FaceTime today,
Then I got in the car and drove to an undisclosed location, my
right?
safe house.
Yep, you're. It's where his,
I'm laying low until the inauguration passes.
it's where he grows the coke. Huge, tons of like plants as far as you can see.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm laying low until the inauguration's over too. Although I live right down the street.
Abby
What
says
could
that's at least four things.
the? That's at least four things. Four of what things?
Maybe this is part of the score if you're keeping score at home. I think she was joking because we did five things, which is
Oh,
at least four. Tony Prisk wants to know who the other victim was today.
yeah. Well, Tony was one of them. Yep. It was. Tony's interview was all right. It wasn't amazing. It was fine.
But
I
the
mean,
shirt.
we're going to um
He
we're
got a new shirt from Target that he wore in the podcast that you're going to get to see. It's nice. It's really nice. I don't remember if he said it was on the sale rack or not, but
at least it wasn't from Walmart. The Yeah, we spend a significant amount of time talking about Tony's shirt. So, but not as much time coincidentally as Tony spent talking about Tony's shirt. And that's what prompted the whole thing. So, yeah, there you go.
that's pretty good.
Yep. Uh-oh. Yep, Tony feels threatened now. So,
MB.
yep.
I
Our
like it.
job here, I feel, is done. So,
That's right.
do you want to talk about Miss Lannon's request?
Yeah, Abby said. Actually, it's funny. So Abby, you're on here, so I'm going to out you now because I like it for lots of reasons. One, because I like that you know that I would have no idea that this was happening in the world. So that makes me feel like I'm doing something right uh, with my life. But she said, I suggest talking about sea shanties at some point. It's near the end of its meme cycle, but it's relevant enough that the audience would enjoy hearing about it. If you want the relative meme and have not seen it before, let me know and I can send you a link. And no, I hadn't. But now here's one thing I'm curious about. I had always heard of it as sea chanty with a CH. And now she wrote sea shanty, which I thought was a shack of some sort. But is it chanty or shanty? Is a question I just don't know the answer to.
I have a strong opinion there.
What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm going to find out. So,
I've always thought it was shanty, but I'm not sure how I thought it was spelled.
huh, there you go. I keep finding shanty, so apparently I was wrong. Oh,
There you go.
actually, it's NER correct. Chanty, or Shanty. See,
Just
now
means nobody knows how to
this
spell
is
it.
what's interesting to me. It could be that. Now, from what I understand on TikTok, people are posting sea shanties, and now this is blown up to TikTok.
That's yeah, I've never logged into TikTok, but the nice thing about Twitter is that anytime that there's anything that's really huge on TikTok, it gets posted, it gets ripped and then posted to Twitter anyways. So, yeah, there has been a number of them. I have not really clicked on them. This one hasn't really grabbed my attention too much. And in fact, this week in Google, they played them for like 4 minutes and I skipped all of it. I listened to the first like 15 seconds, but it was also a video that I wasn't able to watch because I was listening and I just skipped and skipped and skipped. I was like, they're done, right? Like, nope, skip, skip, skip. That was only six. I was like, skip, skip. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of, there was like eight skips. So,
So I have two more. Now a thing makes sense to me that didn't. Well, how long has the sea shanty meme been going around?
not long. Like, you
Two
know,
weeks?
if that, I mean, somewhere in there. Could be only 5 or 6 days. These things tend to flare up a lot, and people understandably need a distraction from, well, gestures broadly at the world, which is, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Well, Abby, you
please.
tell me because here's why I bring it up. So I have not really given much thought to sea shanties. I mean, I like them as much as the next person. I'm not opposed to sea shanties, but within the span of 2 days, about 2 weeks ago, she said a week. So now it's even more confusing to me because about 2 weeks ago, one of my buddies from college, um, so my mom's 80th birthday happened, and I asked a bunch of friends to send cards and messages, and I hadn't talked to him in a little while, and he said he'd be happy to do it. And he and I have a similar sense of humor, very refined, erudite, and super random. And so he said, and here's an album of sea shanties, which I just took for him. I just thought it was a weird, random, hilarious thing. And I said, and I looked up the album and picked one of the titles and said, pretended like I had spent a lot of time thinking about it and talking about it. Then the next day, my son and I drove to the location that we're in right now, and I was telling him about this podcast called Song Salad. Have I talked to you about Song Salad?
Yep.
So Song Salad, there's two Carnegie Mellon alums, both, I know one works on Broadway and the other, I'm not sure what she does. But they in some way, they randomly pick a musical style and a Wikipedia entry, and you learn the history of those two things, and then they combine forces to write a piece of music in that style about that subject. And I picked one at random, and it was sea chanties or shanties, and it was about embroidery. And the song that they wrote was called "I Split Me Pants," which was quite funny. And so I highly recommend Song Salad if you haven't checked it out. It's very interesting and very hilarious. Um, not necessarily in that order. So, but enough with the sea shanties, people. What's next?
What?
Remember, there was the Gregorian chant set to Enya beats 20, 30 years ago. It's just like kind of the equivalent of that.
That was that was not really my jam either. It's yeah, it's I love TikTok. I love the fact that we're in a time now where it's so easy for so many people to be so creative and have it spread so widely without any gatekeepers even seeing it, let alone greenlighting it or amplifying it or approving it or anything. That's really cool. Like that's
Hmm.
really cool. I think that that's awesome.
You,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, my dad was a chef and he was a knucklehead, and he had the equivalent of memes that were copies of copies of copies of either a comic or like a crude drawing, or I mean, we would just know them as memes. Most of them were, not most, 100% of them were inappropriate, and I should not have seen them, but I knew where he kept them in his dresser drawer. So I would go and regularly kind of look through there to find if he had any new ones. And he'd just keep a variety of them in his pocket or in his wallet. And if he was out and about with a buddy, or if he needed to try and crack somebody up, he would just pull that out and show it to them. And I think, this is like Model T compared to what we're talking about now. But the phenomenon was the same. There was this strange, inappropriate thing that there was a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, and it was the analog version of these memes.
Right?
That's how old I am.
What are you going to do with the cabin this week?
I'm going to build a wall.
Or the cottage? Oh, that's right.
So we actually there's a concrete wall in the basement, and I'm going to panel it with wood.
I thought, I thought that, that possibly that you already hated your neighbors like that much.
No, it's in the basement. It's a beautification project inside the house.
Bruce Fask says, some boys find the Playboy stash, some find the archaic meme stash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad never had the other. He just had the one. Hi, Mapes. Maple decided she wanted to come say hello.
Oh, there you go. That's helpful.
Dachshund sighting.
Yeah, there you have it.
She's as interested as most of our viewers right now.
So you're building a wall.
Yep. We have a bunch of scrap lumber, and the wall is not very attractive, and so I'm going to make it less unattractive. Dog!
That is.
So I bought a circular saw because I have a miter saw and a nailer, but I used to have, and now once again have a circular saw.
That was so many details. You just told us we had to go up like one block and take a right, but you told us every single building along that block and then told us to take a right.
Pangrazio's Pizza is still open, so if you wanted to stop there before you took your right, that you can hop in there.
Have you had the pizza? Most random pizza joints in the middle of nowhere are not any good.
I stopped to pick one up on the way here, which is why I know that it's open, and I know that it's called Pangrazio's, and it's not bad. The sauce is a little sweet for my taste,
right?
But it's pretty good. It's passable.
That's pretty much all you can hope for from just a random pizza shop, pretty much anywhere.
Super friendly, really nice lady.
Yeah, sure. They usually are, great. And they're usually like mom and pop places, but like.
Mm-hmm.
It's baffling how I don't need it to be like world-class New Haven pizza or Detroit style or like anything like truly amazing, but it's just kind of it seems like almost all pizza places get at least one thing kind of wrong. So sauce should not be too sweet. Like it just like why? Like I mean, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Meh.
So what's your go-to ingredients or toppings, I should say, on a pizza?
Mushroom is my favorite. Is my favorite topping. I just saw
Jacobus. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
The meaner the pizza guy is, the better. Yeah, that's pretty legit. He's from Jersey, so he's just trying to constantly justify he and all of his orbit being rude to people. Dorn knows what's up. Yeah, exactly. Dorn, yeah. Frank Pepe's. Yeah,
at the mothership. Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. That's that's part of the problem. Is part of the problem is if you have like incredible pizza. Well, here's a question. This will piss some people off. What is your favorite style of pizza?
See, that's the thing.
Because you got Chicago, and like although like the truly deep dish isn't it? It's more like the pub pizza, which is like the truly elite out of Chicago. You got Detroit style, which is unbelievable. New Haven, New York. There's a couple other places that feel like they should get mentioned and they shouldn't. But what is your favorite style? If you had to eat only one for the rest of your life, what is it?
Okay, that's the thing. If I had to eat only one for the rest of my life. If I had to eat only one for the rest of my life, I'd get Minio's, which is my go-to in town.
Right.
Now, if Now that said, I hate to say it, but I might go New York, maybe. Um, but because Chicago, I think if that was the only pizza that I ate for the rest of my life would not be very long. I love that pizza, and I love Detroit. I mean, I'm a pizza omnivore. I would never get in an argument with anybody over. I would never have this argument with someone because if there's pizza, even if it's bad pizza, I'm down. Like count me in. Even the pizza that we had that had squid and raw egg and
No, no, no. And
mayonnaise on it.
yeah, it was like Thousand Island dressing.
Yeah,
That was man. That was in Bangkok.
that was a tough one.
That was three bridges too far for me. Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
went in, and it was Pizza Hut. It was like this was
Yeah.
not like, just to be clear.
We were
It
all
was like
excited. We saw the
it was
boxes
like
and we're like,
because
"Oh,
we were like a
cool."
ways into this Asia trip, and I was like sweet, and then it was like oh that was that was uh that was the famous day. That was the FERP day.
That was Furp Day.
We've
Yeah.
told that story on the podcast, but we should tell it again. Well, hold on.
Chicago thin crust. That's funny.
No, it's that he's being serious.
Where's
Like that's
Chicago thin crust?
at any pub. Like it's
Oh,
like
I
pub
see.
pub
I
style,
see.
which is
Pub
like
style.
which
Okay.
is yeah, it's not like the big. I like the big, huge, thick casserole pizza,
Yeah, me
like
too.
for nostalgia reasons. But like
Hmm.
the pub style
Oh, cut and
is
square.
where it's at.
Is it sort of like is it kind of like what's the name of that? There was a Donato's was a chain in the Midwest. I'm wondering if Donato's because it was cut in squares and it was thin. And it was
That
not it
might
was it
that
was
might be Detroit style also, which
well
is not
Detroit
quite as thin, but it's also cut in squares. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was spread all over the Midwest.
the Detroit I know is thick as all get out with the toasted sides. This was like thin, like super thin.
Like thin, thin. No, that's not Detroit style.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
If I had to
Wow.
choose see, I used to think that New York was the pinnacle, and like an absolutely killer slice of New York, cheese
Hmm.
is hard to improve on. But I would go New Haven, New Haven one,
Hmm.
Detroit two, probably New York three, although maybe the Chicago pub pizza three, and then New York four even. Yeah, it's I mean that those are kind of yeah, I New Haven pizza is just like my goodness.
I don't have enough of a sample size. Like I was
Oh,
only there once, and it was the good news is I was at Pepe's and I was there with Sam, so I knew what was up.
Sam who?
But I just don't. Sam, I can't remember. This is a tall guy.
I think he was Norwegian. No, what is
No,
Uzbekistani? I don't remember. Oh, you mean the Armenian
Canadian,
dude
wasn't he?
who's from Miami?
That one.
That one. Yep. Sounds
Oh,
about right.
yeah.
This summer we got into a groove when I went up to the Berkshires like three times, I think. But we actually had in the back of the minivan, I had a Home Depot bucket and a toilet seat with a bag toilet with like the absorbing. I've not been in a public restroom since March, and that includes driving from DC all the way up to New Haven. But there happens to be, or all the way up to the Berkshires, and we would stop at the Frank Pepe's in Danbury, and there might be a place near there that me and my son would actually pee outside every time. We found a spot, but we picked up pizza every time we drove by, which was not really that which wasn't that smart. But there
Oh,
you
here's
go.
a pizza that I don't like. I didn't know about this Altoona style. Oh, with yellow cheese. Interesting. There's a pizza
Oh, the yellow
place.
cheese that can go sideways pretty quickly. It depends. Anyway,
Yeah,
go
that
ahead.
doesn't look awesome. There's a place in. I mean, I'll try it for sure. There's a place called Beto's that's near us that people swear is specific to Pittsburgh. It is really odd. They put the pizza in the oven, sans cheese or the toppings, and then they bring the crust and the tomato sauce out. Then they put cold toppings and cold mozzarella cheese on it, and there you go. And there's people who they just swear that this is the only way to do it. It's one of
Uh,
those things where you trip and you like work it into a run, like that's what I meant to do. I think someone like screwed up, and then they were like, "No, no, this is what I meant. This is my piece. This is how I make." Beto, that's not how you make. No, this is how I make. It'd be funny if it was Beto O'Rourke, wouldn't it?
I, I would be willing to bet you or anyone a very large sum of money that 98% of the people who swear by that pizza first ate it when they were children.
That's it.
It's like a bad movie that Total Recall is one of the greatest films in the history of cinema to me because I was obsessed with it as a teenager, and it's not as bad as it could be, but the yeah, it's Total Recall. It's like I like it because I fell in love with it when I was 16 and I was an
Hmm.
idiot. Whereas now I have 30 more years under my belt and I'm still an idiot, but I'm an evolved idiot.
So
The
that movie for me was there were two. One was Evil Dead because that was made by. I grew up in Michigan, and that was made
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Michigan filmmakers. And
Yeah,
then the
sure.
other one
That's a
was.
great movie.
I think so too. I love it. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Fifth Dimension. Do you know this one?
Did you?
Yeah.
I, I almost want to challenge you to say those words again in that order in case you made that up.
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Fifth Dimension. Peter Weller starred in it. It's like this. It's way out, way campy, way like it's not as bad as Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but it's of that ilk.
Right?
And it was just we played those two movies at every party when I was in high school. That was just like those two were going on.
Boy, there's a lot of knuckleheads weighing in tonight. Parker with a there's no tone to Facebook post, but I'm so glad I'm here for this. I can't I'm having well, he and I used to be roommates. I'm having a hard time hearing him saying that in a non-sarcastic voice. So I think we're going with oh, and he's also vegan, so he doesn't eat cheese.
Oh, I
Um,
sit corrected. It's eighth dimension, not fifth dimension. I beg your pardon.
There you go. And also, Mike Jacobitz weighed in saying that he prefers Arizona cardboard style. We when we lived in Arizona, and there's actually a couple of like super famous pizza places now that are in Phoenix that are like high end that are world renowned. Um, they were not there when we lived there. And there was a number of places that everything's New York style, right? Like Jacobitz and I tried every single one of those in the entire, like our side of the valley. And every one ended with us in the car eating the slice, like screaming that one of us was going to become a lawyer to sue them out of existence for saying that it was New York style. Because every Arizona place had at least two things wrong with it, and some three or four. It was like the sauce was just like not even like you've never even heard someone describe what the tomato sauce on a piece of New York style pizza should be, let alone actually tasted the damn thing. Like it was amazing how bad the pizza was. I could be better at the oboe by next weekend than this pizza was as New York style pizza. It was unreal. It was unreal, but we were so desperate we kept trying places. So, and we're also idiots. So,
So I'm going to go off on another Buckaroo Banzai tangent because dig the cast: Peter Weller, John Lithgow, Jeff Goldblum, Ellen Barkin, Christopher Lloyd. It's like all these amazing character bit, kind of bit player actor, like character actors. And it was from 1984, so they're all young and it's super bizarre. I highly recommend it. It's not good. I still highly recommend it though.
the we should tell the FERP story because
Oh yeah, and then
that's a
I'm
good one.
and then I'm hanging up
All right.
because I'm going about my day.
So the FERP story, well the background for the FERP story is not at all funny.
No, that's true.
But how it evolved was funny, and we were all so freaked out that this is how we kind of dealt with it because there was nothing we could do. There was we were in Bangkok, and there was some guy who there was a brass ensemble of high school female players who were going to play for us, and they got up on stage and were like just blowing through their instruments, like while like blowing just not buzzing, just blowing through their
Sorry, Maple.
instruments while the dog is totally freaked out. So before we knew, and then the guy started talking in Thai and was talking and talking and talking. Well, it wasn't being translated. We had no idea what he was saying. All that we knew was that every once in a while, and by every once in a while, I mean like every 5 seconds or so, one of them would accidentally, it would just be like, there would just be a note that would come out of the instrument, and it started going around, firp, 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 and then Lance here, because Lance is a giant jackass. Lance then, well, we're back hanging out with the Pizza Hut with the Thousand Island and the squid and all that on it. Lance then said, like, I'm on the edge of laughing like way too hard, and then Lance says, "Ferp," and then JD and I both got our eyes relay. Oh, and Jeff Connor made the most Jeff Connor looking face that I saw in my 14 years. And he was like, he gave Lance this look like, no, don't do that. And then while he was giving Lance the what for, then JD went burp, and then I lost it. There were tears streaming down my face, and then when I could gasp, I said burp, and then Lance said burp. But then the burping continued from the stage because they did this for 5 full minutes. So they're burp, and then Lance, JD, and I are burping, and it's like whack-a-mole with Jeff, and he's just getting more and more freaked out. That was so the setup to the story is bad because it turned out, we didn't understand a word of this, but it turned out that this guy was explaining to the audience for 5 full minutes about how young female brass players are weaker, and that they need to warm up their air for 5 full minutes to be able to play. Like, it was like misogynist bullshit.
Yeah, he was a total jerk.
But we had no idea. Like, we would not have been laughing if we had known what was being said. Yeah. So that was.
Anytime it would get quiet for like the next, I don't know, 5 years.
Yes, there'd be FERP appeared in so many master classes and so many, like everything. So, and poor Jeff, man, he would just, his face when he was worried about you, and then when it spread, right? It's like when it spread, when JD spread, that was kind of like, okay, coronavirus has arrived in my town. Like, that was the face that he made. Like, oh my God, the grocery store's not safe anymore. Oh, poor Jeff.
Poor Jeff.
Anyway, all right. Well,
all right. I'm gonna go have some more Pangrazios.
Enjoy your pizza that doesn't have anything wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want some New Haven pizza, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want some New Haven pizza. Well, I'm glad that I talked about the best pizza in the world right before you have to go eat pizza that's not nearly that good. Yep. So, and Jacobitz wrote something else. That's a lot like being roommates with you, except it's not harmless. Brass instruments making those sounds. Parker's in here. He can corroborate. I've got 2 college roommates in here right now.
Taco night.
Yep. Anyway. All right, Lance, I'm going to miss you desperately. I have an idea.
I hope you do.
Let's spend like 5 less hours on Zoom together tomorrow than we did today.
Count on it.
Like, give or take. Like, well, exactly. That's what we did today. 5, right? Let's spend 5 less hours tomorrow. So, All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We got a new episode on Tuesday is dropping, which is Tony Prisk of the Philadelphia Orchestra. We make fun of his shirt a lot. And there's also usable content as well, but we do make fun of his shirt a lot. He has a very nice shirt on, but we make fun of that. So, because why wouldn't we? Anyway, there are some serious brass podcasts, but if that's what you're looking for here, you're lost. All right, that's it. Have a good rest of your weekend, everyone. What's left of it. And we will see you on Tuesday with Tony Prisk, and then we will see you all next Sunday.